And you know, it's an interesting thing. I lectured colleges and so on, even at Harvard University back in the 60s. Harvard Medical School, Department of Psychiatry. They paid me. Because one of the doctors, the professors of psychiatry, heard my broadcast when I was at my little church in the south end of Boston, you know, then known as a healer and a miracle worker, and called the station, and the station was so glad. Oh, yes, 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 yes. We want you to debate Rev Ike on our daily forum. He said, well, put us together, let us meet. So we met. Lo and behold, he and I decided we were doing the same thing. Not only that, he was a researcher of healing shrines. And he said to me, he said, you know, I had a patient that had terminal cancer, and she said to me that when she went to such and such a church, it's a church that practices healing. I won't call the name, the scribes and the Pharisees may not be able to take it. But he said, she told me when she goes to this services at this church where they practice healing, she feels better. And I said to her, well, if you feel better, by all means go. You know, they couldn't do anything for her. And he said, my colleagues rebuked me. See, that's the way the world is. They can't help you. They don't want you to go nowhere where you can get help. They're concerned about orthodoxy. It's not orthodox for a Harvard MD in psychiatry to tell a woman dying with cancer, if you feel better when you go to that church where they practice healing, by all means go. That's not orthodox. See, that was the problem with Jesus before when Bishop Jordan got me stirred up. It was not orthodox to say this day. That doesn't fit in with the leaven of the scribes and the Pharisees and the Sadducees, because they are sad, you see. Let's get rid of this deserving thing. Now, the Spirit tells me to do something because I know that's it. I want everybody in here who has any kind of trace of feeling that perhaps you don't deserve, stand up right now. Let's get rid of that. Look at this. I'm going to ask the two bishops to come and please stand on both sides of me. You see, they have their crosses exposed. We're going to cross out every undeserving demon, every undeserving thought. And you know, it's interesting. See, these are good people. I'm going to ask you a question. I know what the answer is, but you need to say it. Where did you get the idea or the feeling about not deserving?
It was childhood thing.
Huh?
Childhood thing.
Huh?
Didn't work for it, don't deserve it.
Where did you get any suspicion about not deserving?
I grew up with it. I was just, I was trained in that way that, you know, I had to settle for a certain standard of living, and that's just what dark people had. And, you know, you were better off if you were just, you know, a preacher or a teacher, and you couldn't go to the higher things doing those things. And that's just the way I was brought up, you know.
And it's part of a generational curse. You can see that right now. That's why Jesus said you must be born how? Again. You must be born out of that old human thought, that old religious thought that you don't deserve. Where'd you get that idea about not deserving?
It's the same thing growing up, just trying to be perfect. You had to succeed, and if you made mistakes, then you weren't any.
Well, stop trying to be perfect. There's only one perfection, and you are made in that image and likeness of perfection. Don't try to create an other. Just let it be. Where'd you get that idea about not deserving?
I don't know. I just keep telling myself that.
Keep telling yourself that. Now you see, for she said within herself. Suppose that woman with the issue of blood had told herself, I don't deserve to be healed. You keep telling yourself that. Oh, I'm glad I did this tonight. I wouldn't want, you're not going out of here with that. Where'd you get that idea?
I was never taught that before, that I can have any more than what I had back then when I was growing up. So this is like, wow, you know, I see it, I saw it, but I didn't understand it then. But now I understand it more.
Come on down here quickly, the rest of you. Come down here quickly and tell me why. In the light, when we get you see, we have confession too, but we make you confess right out before everybody. What was your problem about not deserving? Where'd you get it?
Mine is childhood also. From when I was a little girl growing up, I was never to be anything, to do anything. That's just what I was told, and it's kind of hard rooting it out.
Well, it ain't going out of this door tonight. Come on down here quickly, the rest of tell me quickly. Now, what was your problem about feeling undeserving?
Well, when I was growing up, like everyone else, I was told that you should go to school, you should get your grades up, you know, study hard, work hard, and everything will come to you. And now when I work and go into different job situations, people around me who didn't work as hard, who don't have as much education, are doing the same level of income that I have. And I'm just saying, well, why is this happening? The other thing is, it's just the idea that you're not supposed to have these things, you know. When I watch a program like the one about the rich and the famous on television, or you see the people with all the fine homes and everything, and you say, well, oh, I could never have that.
See, you know what that is? You count yourself out. Say to everybody here, the person next to you, don't count yourself out. Count yourself in. I did that with that audience of Master of Money. And they went in, and I taught them how to say and to feel. I'm in there. Let me hear everybody say it. I'm in there. From now on, whenever you watch The Rich and the Famous, if you don't catch it, go get you some tapes. Rich and Famous. And watch it. And as you watch it, say, I am that I am. I'm in there. All right, what's been your problem about feeling undeserving?
I've prayed for things out of a sense of lack. And since it didn't come to pass, even though I know I should be receiving things, the thoughts would come to me that perhaps it's something I did or something is hindering. I just don't deserve it.
All right, I'm glad you brought something up. This is going to blow your mind. And I'm going to tell you the answer, but I'm going to confuse you a little bit before I do. God does not bless you either because you are so good or so bad. As a matter of fact, I'm going to tell you something. The bad folks, what did the bishop say last night about the children of
this world are wiser in their generation than the children of light?
Please hear this and take it in love. One of the greatest hindrances to people's prosperity and having what God wants them to have is religion. The first thing that people need to be saved from is religion. I preached on the prodigal son one time, and I titled the subject something like "The Feast for the Most Undeserving." Look who got the party. The bad guy. You know why sometimes the bad people and the sinners get blessed first? Because they're not hung up over religion. They are not hung up over whether they are pre-trib or post-trib. But I've already told them my position on that. I'm no trib. I already had enough tribulation. If I ever needed any, I had enough. There is only one reason that God blesses you. And it's neither because of your goodness or your badness. Oh, yes, he's getting delivered now. See, I feel he's getting delivered. This is the gospel. This is the good spell. He's being delivered now. Oh, la bakasita lidio shama. Now, I'm not telling you it doesn't matter. Go out and be bad. That's not what I'm saying. You know, badness will get in your way. But only one reason. I got to change that word child in my book. Wasn't that beautiful? God wants to bless you and prosper you for only one reason. You are his son. There is no other claim that you have on God except I am the Christ, the Son of the living God. I am Jesus. But you see, you've been persecuting me. You've been persecuting Jesus. When you accuse yourself, you are persecuting Jesus. I am Jesus whom thou persecutes. Hear this about the Son. The only person that has a claim on the Father's blessing is the Son. And the only way you get those blessings is to come in the name of the Son. That's why my son walks into my room without knocking. Somebody who is not that I don't know walked into my place like that. I'd do like the Baptists. I'd lay my religion down.
Put your religion down. Yeah.
And dispatch him to glory or wherever he's going. But you see, he comes into my room how? In the name, the nature of the Son. I see him going out with my clothes loaded up in his arm.
All the time.
Yeah. you too? See? But I know this boy. He's entitled to this. He's my son. He belongs in my house. He belongs in my closet. He belongs in my garage. And he knows it.
I know it.
Thou art loosed from thine infirmity. You know the truth and you are free. Do not persecute Jesus anymore. Do not persecute Jesus anymore. Do not persecute Jesus anymore. Say that quickly to as many people as you're near. Do not persecute Jesus anymore. Don't persecute Jesus.